I want to thank StudyIQ.
I would like to thank StudyIQ team.
Big round of applause to the team, management and staff of StudyIQ.
So Vedic age can be divided into basically two parts, early Vedic age and later Vedic age. Together, they roughly coincide with the time period between 1500 BC to 600 BC. And unlike all the ages, all the eras we have covered so far, that is prehistory and Indus Valley civilization, the unique aspect or unique feature of Vedic age is that here we are at ease because we have literary sources that tell us about Vedic society, Vedic practices, and various other things, right? So Vedic age, its importance lies in this thing, that it is basically an intermediate age that will connect the cultural aspects of Indus Valley civilization and Mahajanpads, right? It comes in between, right? In Mahajanpads, we will have proper city-states and a proper polity. The era of kings, dynasties, it will start properly, right? But before that, in Vedic age, human beings will make certain more advances in terms of various aspects of their socio-economy or their polity, right? Or their technology and even religion, right? Most notable aspect of Vedic age is the religious aspect, right? Now, in Vedic age, it is believed that Aryans, they dominated the scenes. The people of Vedic age, they are referred to as Aryans. If we translate or if we try to understand the meaning of Aryan, in literal terms, it basically means someone who is very noble, who is very righteous, right? Arya Putra, okay, Arya, Arya means, okay, Arya means कोई अच्छा इंसान, right? For example, in the word acharya, acharya is a word used to denote, किसको use करते हैं denote करने के लिए? Arya, acharya word is used to denote a teacher. And acharya word is used to denote a teacher. So the word acharya comes out from ucharan and arya, right? From the combination of etymologically, these two words make the term acharya, right? Ucharan plus arya, right? So एक व्यक्ति who is righteous and who through his ucharan is communicating or teaching the world, he is acharya, right? So acharya, it means a noble person, right? But in terms of Vedic age, when we consider Aryans or when we refer to Aryans, they are not seen as one single person who is very noble, right? They are actually seen as group of people. Aryans are basically seen as group of people, and it is these people whose practices, right, whose identity will form the basis of Vedic age. And this group of people is a semi-nomadic pastoral group. Semi-nomadic means that they migrate and settle down, right? For example, let's say there is a hilly region, right? In winters, there will be snow on this hilly region, right? So it's not possible to have a big or a large herd of cattle or other animals and उनको घास नहीं चरवाई जा सकती यहाँ पर. So the people or the pastoralists here, they will migrate towards the lower tracts where there will be green grass in winters, right? And their animals can feed on this fodder, right? In summers, they will migrate back to upper regions again, right? And again, they will, their nomadic is who is consistently traveling from one place to another, वही बता रहा हूँ, right? But semi-nomadic is that they do have a settled life, right? Semi-nomadic isliye because Aryans, it is believed, why they are called semi-nomadic? Because it is believed that Aryans, they actually came and settled in India, but they came through migration while traveling from other parts of the world, particularly the Central Asian region. जो आज की डेट में क्या है, ये जो स्थान है, the 5 स्थान्स, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and various others, right? They migrated from those regions, came to India through Khyber Pass and settled here, right? So it's not like they came to India and then migrated ahead again. No. As per the theory, right, Aryan migration theory, it is said that they came to India, they were migrating, right? So that's why they were nomadic, but they came to India and settled. So that's why semi-nomadic, right? Pastoral people, right? एक छोटी सी example ये बता दी है, right? They realized that conditions in subcontinent, they suit their lifestyle a little bit more, right? Clear? Sure? Okay. Now, Indus Valley civilization, we could see that we could actually find presence of large cities, right, with great baths, citadel or stadel, right? So the structure of society was largely urban. However, Aryans, they led rural lifestyle, which basically means that agriculture is going to be very important for them, right? Agriculture is going to play a very, very, very important part of Aryans, right? And this makes them a little bit different from Indus Valley people too, right? This is basically just for the reference that how Indo-Aryans, there is a theory of Aryans coming to India, right? So one theory says that they came to India by migration, right, from Khyber Pass region, entered in different waves, entered to India in different waves, right? In one of the wave, they started to settle down near Indo-Gangetic plains, right? And in one of the branch of Indo-Aryans, they settled down near the areas of Kutch and Gujarat, etc., right? However, let me tell you here very clearly that origin of Aryans, it is a matter of intellectual debate, right? Many historians have different opinions, right? What do we say? The credibility of which is always into certain one form or the other form of question, right? So there are multiple theories around where did Aryans came from and who are basically these Aryans, right? So one very widely accepted theory is that this is actually a semi-nomadic group which migrated to India, right? It is said that around 1500 BC, in around 1500 BC, right, they came from areas around Caspian Sea, right, in Central Asia, right, or also from Russian steppes. In geography, you will study about various grasslands, right, various grasslands, and you will understand that they came to India through different regions, right? However, there are certain other theories as well. For example, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he was of the opinion that Aryans came from Arctic region, way from the more towards the north from the European continent. They came from the European continent, Arctic region. ठीक है, आर्कटिक सर्कल को कभी आप देखोगे तो ये कुछ कंट्रीज हैं, राइट? नेदरलैंड्स, यूके, आइसलैंड, नॉर्वे, ये सारे कंट्रीज वहां पर मिल जाएंगे आपको. सो दे माइग्रेटेड फ्रॉम दैट प्लेस, राइट? They are distinguished. What makes this group distinguished from all other groups is their language, right? So it is actually a language group, Aryans, right? They spoke Sanskrit, right? And most of the European language and the origin of Sanskrit, it is said that they have a common origin, right? You must have seen Namaste London of Akshay Kumar and Katrina Kaif, right? So he basically suggests that many of the words which are in Sanskrit, they actually have quite a similarity with European language words, right? For example, brother is bhratra, right? The bhratra became brother in English. Matra became mother in English, right? Trigonometry is derived from trikonmiti, right? So there is certain resemblance, right? So it is basically a language group. Remember this thing. Aryans is predominantly said to be a language group, right? And Sanskrit was the dominantly spoken language of these Aryans. Clear, everyone? This is one theory which is widely accepted, and this is migration theory of Aryans, right? However, right, and the most important proponent of this theory is Max Muller, right? But many people suggest that this is just a colonial propaganda, right? Because Max Muller was a colonial time a historian and archaeologist of colonial times, and it is often alleged that Max Muller, he was supposed to propagate or strengthen the colonial agenda, right, in India, and fill into the minds of people that the original inhabitants of India, they are not so superior, right? The Indian, what do we say, right? The Indian people, right? The people of India, the people of Bharat, who were really, how do we say, really great in different things in technology, knew the use of iron and various other things, they can be, their origins can be traced back from Europe, right? However, our nationalist leaders, they gave an alternate perspective. They said that actually we can use the same logic, the same argument to shatter the myth of white superiority, right? If Europeans think that they are superior, right? But if you compare the origins, the genetic origins of people living in India, which are Aryans, and the people living in Europe, their origins or their ancestor, we can derive a common ancestry, right? We can derive our common ancestry, right? So this was an alternate opinion given by nationalist leader. Few other theories are also there. There is one group of historians who says that Aryans, they did not come from outside. They did not come from somewhere outside, right? Aryan, they said that Aryans are indigenous. They were well within our country only. They were present in subcontinent only, right? Rather, what happened was, right, one theory, indigenous Aryan theory, says that they were here only. They did not come from outside. The other theory says that they were not only here. It was from here that some of the Aryans, they went to Central Asian regions or the Arctic Circle and then came back, right? It was from India that Aryans originated, went to other regions, migrated to other regions. That is why they are semi-nomadic, and then came back to India. And it is only the second half of this whole story that Max Muller and various other people are referring to, and they believe that Aryans, they actually migrated to India. Rather, this school of thought suggests that Aryans were very much within this subcontinent only, right? So this is another theory on this. One more theory suggests that actually this again believes that Aryans were there in India only, right? There was no large-scale migration too, right? These two theories, they suggest that Aryans were in India. This theory suggests that Aryans migrated and came back. This theory suggests that they did not go anywhere. Actually, there was a cultural link or a trade link, trade relations between. और ठीक है भावना, 2 मिनट रुक जाओ यार, ये theory तो खत्म कर लूं. What is better, me freeing the class by 8:15, or taking a break and then taking it all the way to 9? अभी तो बहुत difficult चीज लग सकती है आपको. I am in a doubt that whether this should be discussed here only or whether it should be left for advanced classes. Vedic literature, it is a little bit troublesome topic, right? That I will start after the break. For that, I will give you some break, right? So Bhavna, it's only you who is saying taking it till right 8:15 is obviously better. Just let me finish this. Before starting the Vedic literature, I will give you a break, because for that a little bit fresh mind is needed, both for you and me as well, right? ये कर लो यार, please कर लो, ठीक है? तो cultural diffusion theory, this suggests that because of the trade relations and commercial ties, right? It is because of that there is cultural and linguistic similarities between Indo-Aryans and Indo-European groups, right? Because of this similarity, many people believe that this group might have migrated from Central Asian region, Arctic region, etc. But they say that there must have been cultural exchange, and because of that, we can see the similarity, right? Like, see, today in India, in Bharat, in this particular batch, we are speaking English, right? So can we say that Bhavna, Chandan, me, right, Priya, Prem, and Niranjan, we have actually migrated from Europe, from England? अंग्रेज हैं हम लोग, काले बालों के साथ, थोड़ी सी brown skin के साथ. Can we say that? No. This is a result of our colonial past that we are speaking English, which is not wrong per se. We should know the language, which is internationally most accepted language, right? And in order to progress, we should have a good grip over this language. It is because of this language that we were able to conduct various important sessions like G20, etc., right? And as far as ease of doing business is concerned, many industries, many foreign industries, sometimes they prefer India over China. The reason being that not only we have a young population, right, a demographic dividend is there, but this demographic dividend, a good number of our population also has the knowledge of English language. So it's easy to train them, right? So the point is that even if we are speaking English, doesn't mean that we came from England, right? The same theory goes here as well. It is because of the diffusion of ideas and practices that similarity can be seen. So this is theory of origin of Aryans, right? Now, there is one term called as Sapta Sindhu. It is said that when Aryans, because migration theory is most widely accepted, right, out of all these theories, right? However, if you are asked a question on वैसे तो यार in mains, questions from ancient and medieval, they are going to be relatively quite less, almost nil. The question will be more in terms of art and culture of ancient and medieval times. For that, we will be focusing on art and culture component more. And even during your mains answer enrichment program, our emphasis will be more on cultural aspects, art and cultural aspects of ancient medieval times. However, let's say in a bad time, let's say you are asked a question on origin of Aryan theories, right? So there you have to tell all the theories, right? But at the same time, you also mentioned that which is the widely accepted theory. Aryans being migrants coming from Khyber Pass. Unless and until by that time we have an alternate theory, or unless and until our textbooks are completely changed and we say that actually it is not Aryans who came to India, it was British who were thrown out from India and they went there. Maybe it might happen. जो ट्रेंड चल रहे हैं ऐसा भी हो सकता है, ठीक है, हमारी टेक्स्ट बुक में याद है. Anyways, when they came to India, it is said that they initially lived in a land known as Sept Sindhu, right? Sept Sindhu, right? What is this Sept Sindhu? This is the land of 7 rivers. What are these rivers? These rivers are Sindhu, that is Indus, Vipash, that is Beas, Vitasta, that is Jhelum, right? In the region of J&K, near the region of J&K. Parushni, that is Ravi, Askini, that is Chenab, Shutudri, Satluj, right? And Saraswati, right? So in this particular chart, I have not only provided you that what comprises Sept Sindhu, but I have also given you the ancient names of these rivers, right? So it's a request that do memorize these names, right? Again, बुरे वक्त में काम आ सकते हैं. They may come handy in a tough time, right? When a difficult question is asked and you are asked that which of the following pairs are correctly matched. On the left side, you are given name of modern rivers, and on the right side it is said what is the ancient name of this particular river, right? Now, Vedic literature. Before I give you break, let me tell you this, that Vedic literature can be divided into multiple domains, right? There are Vedas, there are Brahmanas, there are Upanishads, there are Aranyakas, and various other literature from which we can derive various information about what kind of society must have existed during Vedic times, right? Now, before we dwell into this Vedic literature, let me tell you, भाई हमने यहाँ पर वैदिक लिटरेचर की पीएचडी में बिल्कुल नहीं घुसना. We do not have to go into too much nitty-gritty of Vedic literature, because in order to understand about this literature, we might as well bring all the 4 Vedas and start reading it. Me being a Brahmin, yaar, even I don't know, right? Even I don't know, because modernization ho chuki hai, right? Even we are not these days given that much training, right, in Vedic literature. Our ancestors, they might have been, but not us. So as far as our exam and this class is concerned, right, we are going to focus on UPSC point of view, right? We will cover this thing from UPSC point of view. Is it clear? किसी की भावना को कोई ठेस तो नहीं पहुंची? ये पहले बता दो. सलोनी, प्रिया, भावना, एवरीवन. भाई बुरा नहीं मानना किसी ने. अभी हम in history की ना, there is a big problem in history that because see there is a saying that we have the record that how many tigers and lions were hunted by the hunters, right? Why is this so? We know that how many tigers and lions were hunted by hunters, but we do not know that how many hunters got killed in this endeavor. The reason is that lions and tigers, they cannot write their history, right? So the thing is that whenever history is written, right, I am not writing history, I am referring to various records, right? And sometimes one same incident will be written from one perspective by one historian and another perspective by another historian. And there is always some kind of agenda in that history too, right? So as far as possible, we are going to be neutral. We are going to understand history in a way that is going to come handy in our exam, right? We are going to discuss certain Varnashram system, we will cover it, right? So caste, sati, etc., right? Communal holocaust we discussed, right? वहां पर तो देख के लग ही रहा होगा कि यार सर क्या बोल रहे हैं, मुस्लिम लीग बार बार क्यों करते जा रहे हैं ये, right? But we have to be neutral. Actually at that time, Jinnah, right? I did not made Jinnah. Jinnah did all these things, and there is a record of what he was up to. And Jinnah was actually, and his प्यादा था यार वो, अंग्रेजों के हाथ का, अंग्रेजों का बनाया हुआ, right? He knew that he will die because of TB. Could have averted partition, but no, I don't know why he was so radicalized, right? And in advanced classes, we will discuss this thing, that the history of the word Pakistan, right? Pakistan, Punjab, Kashmir, right, and Balochistan. Combine these together, they form the word Pakistan, right? So a young student of studying in London, right, he gave this terminology, and when he made use of this phrase, Jinnah actually laughed at him. But gradually he got radicalized so much that he thought that We will लड़ के लेंगे पाकिस्तान, direct action day, Pakistan day, 23rd March, so on and so forth, right? So please, अगर कोई भूल चूक हुई हो, इसको क्लास हमने क्लास को क्लास की तरह समझना है, ठीक है? We will not get emotional, right? और जहां तक वो फिर होता है ना सोशल रिलीजियस रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट्स में, तो मुझे बड़ी शर्म आती है यार भाई, हर चीज पे ब्राह्मण डोमिनेंस, ब्राह्मण एट्रोसिटीज, राइट? एंटी ब्राह्मण मूवमेंट, देन ऑर्थोडॉक्स ब्राह्मण्स, राइट? तो वो हमने बुरा नहीं मानना, हमने इसको सब्जेक्ट की तरह पढ़ना है, एंड वी विल डू इट इन अ फन वे, राइट? सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड वैदिक लिटरेचर. नाउ बी वेरी केयरफुल दैट वैदिक लिटरेचर, as you know, is quite a comprehensive and a very elaborate literature. So we need not go into too much nitty-gritties and details, but what I'm going to do here is tell you certain important aspects of it, right? First of all, what is Veda? Veda is actually a word which has been derived from the term Vid, right? Vid, Vidya. Okay? Vid basically means to know, right? So Veda basically means something when you know something very supreme, right? Very superior knowledge is referred to as Vedas, right? So because it is considered that these Vedas contain the supreme knowledge which is very crucial and essential for a human being to live his life with ease, in peace, right? And in order to establish a connection between Atma and Brahman, the knowledge of this Veda will help a person to develop certain divine connection as well, right? So Veda effectively means the superior knowledge, supreme knowledge, right? So first of all, the oldest Ved is Rig Ved, right? Oldest Ved is Rig Ved, and it is because of this reason that the early Vedic age is also sometimes referred to as Rig Vedic age, right? Now, certain aspects of Rig Ved that you need to know. Rig Ved is composed of 1028 hymns, which effectively means 1028 श्लोक मौजूद हैं ऋग वेद में, right? There are 1028 hymns or shlokas in the Rig Ved. These shlokas or this entire Rig Ved can further be divided into 10 books, which are known as mandalas, right? So there is one big Ved, right? And there are 10 sections known as mandalas, right? These hymns or these shloks, these are sung in praise of various gods, right? These are sung in praise of various gods. And whatever the 10 mandalas, right, or the 10 chapters that we have, right? 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Remember this thing that these 10 mandalas were not made in chronology. It's not like one came first, then 2, then 3, then 4. No. Chronology is somewhat different. This is known to us by this fact that we got to know after the historians, they studied Vedic literature. It was known that Mandala 1st and Mandala 10, they are later additions to Rig Ved, right? They are the later additions, right? So Mandala 10 and Mandala 1 and Mandala 10, not only they are later additions, but actually they have something very crucial that forms a very fundamental aspect of Indian society even to this day, right? What is that thing? They explained Purusha Sukta, right? Purusha Sukta is basically praise of divine cosmic being, that is Purush, the divine cosmic being, and is considered to be the supreme soul, right? It is here in Purusha Sukta in the Mandala 1 and 10 where Ashram and Varna Vyavastha, they are explained, and you know that even till this date, Varna Ashram Vyavastha plays a quite significant role and is quite a distinctive feature of Indian society, right? So the point to be noted here is, what are the crucial points about Rig Vedic age? Rig Veda, oldest Ved, 1028 hymns divided into 10 mandalas or the volumes. First and 10th mandala, they are the later editions, which effectively suggests that these mandalas, they were not written in chronology, right? There is a time difference between different mandalas being written, right? What is contained in first and 10 mandalas? These first and 10 mandalas, they talk us, they explain us about the Varna Vyavastha system, the Varna Vyavastha, the Varna Ashram Vyavastha, right? And it is contained in a topic called Purusha Shashukta, right? In the Purusha Shashukta, what we do, we praise a cosmic supreme being, right? The supreme soul, which is referred to as Purusa, right? Clear hai ye cheez? These are certain fundamental and most basic aspects about Rig Ved, right? इससे भी काफी सारे MCQs आपके solve हो जाएंगे, right? Now let us discuss about some other Vedas. Next comes the Samved. Samved is also known as Book of Chants, right? Samved is known as Book of Chants, right? Most of the verses in the Samved, they are taken from Rig Ved only. But the difference here is that they are arranged in such a way that they can be recited in poetic form. Have you ever heard Aditya Hriday Stotram or Saraswati Stotram? Usually these shloks can be recited in this tune. na 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 na. I think you might have heard it, right? South Indians, I feel, are a little bit more connected with their culture, and you must have heard this particular tune, right? This is how Rigvedic verses are arranged in some way, right? The words there are arranged in such a way that they can be recited in this particular fashion, right? This is a poetic form, and arrangement in this particular poetic form facilitates singing of these verses. And you must agree, right? You must agree that if we chant Om Bhuv Bhuva Swaha, the Gayatri Mantra, right, very monotonously, it might be difficult for us to memorize or remember, right? Many of you might not even know the meaning of each and every word or syllable of Gayatri Mantra, but still, because we chant it in a poetic form sometimes, it is easy for us to remember it, right? So that is why arranging the hymns and verses of Rig Ved, arranging those things in poetic form and facilitate the singing of these things, it made it easy for various pupils, various students who are gaining the knowledge of Vedas to memorize all these things with quite ease, right? For example, since the day I joined StudyIQ, since the day I started teaching, right, I am not so much in touch with Aditya Hridaya Stotram, but actually during my preparation days, I used to chant Aditya Hridaya Stotram really well, right? And when I started my prelims, it started getting clear, right? फिर सुबह और शाम 2 बार हमने प्रे करनी शुरू की, तो फिर मेंस में ऑप्शनल यार मुझे बेसिकली तंग किया, तो ऑप्शनल में स्कोर थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूव हुआ, बट यू नो एग्जॉस्शन केम एंड आई थॉट इट इज बेटर दैट आई फाइंड माय पैशन इन सम अदर थिंग, right? And I'm glad and grateful that I discovered it, right? So Surya na, actually, if you want to clear the exam, it is said that you need the blessings of Lord Sun, because Sun is actually king of all planets, right? And what are you preparing for? IAS. IAS is the king of the district, right? तो थोड़ा सूर्य भगवान की blessings लेने के लिए, if it's fine with you, you may chant Aditya Hridaya Stotram, right? तो आदित्य हृदय स्तोत्रम भी is a difficult thing to remember, but after 2, 3, 4, 5 recitations in a musical pattern, रट गया था वो, ठीक है, वो रट गया था, right? सोशियोलॉजी भावना, सोशियोलॉजी, ठीक है, प्यार हिस्ट्री से था, शादी सोशियोलॉजी से कर ली, तभी यहाँ बैठा हूँ, ठीक है, ये हो जाता है कभी कभी, राइट? चलो, okay, now few more aspects about Samveda. Because this facilitates singing patterns, so origin of Indian music, even this can be found in Samveda, right? Origin of Indian music, it can be found in Samveda. There is a collection and there is certain information about different melodies of Indian music. For example, Drupad Rag. Drupad Rag finds mention in Samveda, and this is the same rag which was used by Tansen during Mughal era later. Right, so Drupad Rag and origin of Indian music can be associated with Samveda. Next important Ved is Yajurved. Right, Yajurved basically deals with procedures. Yajurved basically deals with procedures, right, for the performance of sacrifices. Now, performance of sacrifice is going to be very a crucial or very important aspect of Vedic religion, Vedic era. Right, now Yajurved basically, it tells how to make a sacrifice so as to fulfill the ritual in a proper fashion, right? This is the main theme of Yajurved. Secondly, Yajurved is divided into 2 aspects or 2 categories, 2 types, right? One is Shukla Yajurved, also known as White Yajurved, also known as Vajasneya, right? And it is containing only the mantras. Only the mantras are there, right? Which mantra has to be performed or recited during what kind of ritual or sacrificial norm. It is the information regarding that is provided here. The other part of Yajurved or the second Yajurved is Krishna Yajurved. It is called as Black Yajurved, right? It contains mantras as well as the explanations or the commentaries, right? The mantras are given, what that mantra stands for, and what is the significance of different syllables and different things that you are reciting in that mantra. Even this is explained, right? So this is quite a good thing, right? Quite a good way to make the reader know that what you are doing, why you are doing it, why is something important during the performance of this sacrificial norm, right? This is important, right? So Yajurved, this is about most important points regarding Yajurved. Atharvaved, right? Atharvaved is actually collection of magical spells, right? there are different things. Life is not always so smooth, right? We get ill sometimes, right? Certain परेशानियां आती हैं हमारी जिंदगी में. There are certain troubles that often bother us, right? So these troubles were considered to be the impact of evil spirit during ancient times, because at that time no one had to prepare for UPSC. So why are you not happy, right? You don't have to prepare for such a difficult exam. You should be happy. You should be mast mala, right? Damadam mast kalandar, samose pet ke andar, something like that, right? Why are you bothered? Why are you so worried, right? So it was believed that it is because of some kind of evil spirit that is wandering around and is creating trouble for you, right? So you need to ward off that evil spirit. You need to ward off that negativity. So for that negativity, let us recite some magical spells, right? So this was there in Atharva Ved. And Atharva Ved, because it has magical spells and has a little less to do with sacrificial norms, so it is actually last Ved and is considered to be a non-Aryan work, right? Most of the Vedas, Aryans, they were involved in the composition of these Vedas, but the Atharva Ved, it was a non-Aryan work, right? Primarily to ward off the evil spirit and to cast off the problems, right? In addition to Vedas, there are some other literary sources during Vedic age as well. For example, Brahmanas, right? Brahmanas, these are the literary sources that basically describe rules for the performance of sacrificial ceremony. Now, the theme of Brahmanas seems very similar to Yajurved, right? However, Brahmanas, right, it is quite different from Yajurved, right? They are rules, right? This is, Yajurved tells the procedure, right? Brahmana tell rules for various sacrificial ceremonies. देखने में similar लगता है पर इनमें difference है, ठीक है? Every Ved have several Brahmanas attached to it. Even Yajurved has multiple Brahmanas attached to it, right? Multiple Brahmanas are attached to Yajurved as well, right? So there are, Brahmana is like, you can understand it like there is a manual, right? You operate certain mobile phone or you operate certain machine. You are given certain manual that what to do with which particular part. You take a laptop, you bring something. Even if you get a car, you are told lots and lots of things about the instrument cluster in that manual, right? So Brahmanas, you can consider, right, that this is Brahmana's function, that you are given the rules. Shaurya actually, Shaurya has asked that at that time for diseases, medicines, at that time for diseases and medicines, herbs used to exist, but even then people used to believe that it has something to do with evil spirits. See, yeah, how do I explain this? See, the Vidwan log, they knew that herbs are there, right? The Vidwan people, they knew herbs are there, right? But a common man, it would be difficult for him to understand. The common people, they used to believe that yes, if something is not understandable to a common person, he believes that this is a creation of some superhuman power, right? So what would they say? They would क्या करेंगे? कपूर का कुछ लेके कैम्फर का. They do not promote superstitious belief, yes. कैम्फर का क्या करेंगे? कैम्फर को लेकर थोड़ा सा उसका धुआं जलाएंगे. वो धुएं से जुकाम ठीक होता है, राइट? लेकिन आम इंसान उसको कैसे मनाएं कि भाई तेरा जुकाम ठीक, उसको वो नहीं समझेगा ना. He will not understand that it is because of some kind of blockage in my nose due to some other reason, due to some infection which is getting relieved, right? So उसको करने के लिए basically वो हो रहा है कि हाँ ये धुआं है, इससे evil cast off हो रहा है, but actually that's a placebo or in some respect it is actually working. कैम्फर क्या है? कपूर वही तो है. विक्स में भी कपूर होता है, पता है आपको? वो inhaler, it has camphor in it, right? So that is a thing. Sorry, ये चीज समझ लग गई. ये ना आपको कैसे समझाएं, ठीक है? इसमें ना वो, right, usually you try to recall that whenever you performed certain kind of religious practice at home, if you ask your नानी और दादी that हम ये क्यों कर रहे हैं, छोटा बच्चा तो बहुत पूछता है, तो क्या जवाब मिलता था? ऐसे नहीं बोलते, है ना? तो this knowledge was known to those people who had this knowledge, who were exposed to the Vedic literature, but common man, he lived in some kind of superstition, right? And rather than making them understand, right, और हर किसी को मतलब समझाना इतना आसान नहीं होता, ठीक है? You ask me, this is a good batch. I'm very grateful that you people are attached to me. पूछो जरा मेरे से bilingual में कई बार एकदम बेसिक चीजें. आज someone today He asked that what is the meaning of erratic rainfall, right? We were discussing Bihar dengue, the incident of Bihar dengue, that suddenly the cases of dengue were too much in Bihar. And one of the reason is the erraticness in the rainfall, because the rainfalls, they started late, but they continued, and they मतलब in October तक उनका असर हो गया था, right? So someone was asking what is erratic rainfall, right? तो वो होता ना, तो इसलिए फिर easy explanation दे दी जाती है कि चल मान ले भैया, right? बाकी वही बात है यार, if you want to read if you want to read Atharvaved, right, you are free to do that, but do not ask me, right? I pull my ears right, and I say I have no knowledge, I haven't read the original text, right? So original text अगर किसी ने पढ़ना है, किसी को इच्छा है, तो definitely you can do that, but very rare chance that something directly will be asked from Atharvaved, that sense, right? Okay, coming back to Brahmanas, right? Now each Ved has has different Brahmanas attached to it, right? And the most important Brahmana is Satpat Brahmana, right? Or Satpata Brahmana. It is associated or attached to Yajurved, right? It is associated, attached to Yajurved. It is the most exhaustive Brahmana, and within this Brahmana, we can also find certain references to technical information on geometry. For example, pi. We find mention of pi in Satpat Brahmana, right? Along with this, Pythagoras, we have a reference to Pythagoras theorem in Satpat Brahmana as well, right? अब इसमें ना यार सुपरस्टिशन का मैं क्या बताऊं, सुपरस्टिशन को लेके ना ये बोल रहा हूँ, सी आई एम जस्ट पुटिंग फॉरवर्ड दिस थ्योरी, राइट? इट हैज गॉट नथिंग टू डू विद एनीथिंग, जस्ट पुटिंग इट फॉरवर्ड. वैदिक एस्ट्रोलॉजी है, many people consider Vedic astrology to be sham, right? However, if you it is considered sham because certain people, they have made it a very commercial activity, right? And certain malpractices, they have crept into it. However, if you study a little bit or about Vedic astrology, you will realize that things are very logical, right? Example, Lord Shani or Saturn, it is considered to be a planet of Vayu Tattva, and after research we got to know that actually it's a gaseous planet, and it is mostly composed of air only, right? Air, or what can we say, it is mostly composed of gases, right? Similarly, there are various other things, and now we are doing research around gravitational waves, the thing that was completely unknown to us for several years, several thousands of years, right? And it is my belief, which again has got nothing to do with UPSC, right? It might happen that as we get to know more about gravitational waves, the impact of these planets on our lives will be known more to us, which I think might have been deciphered by people of Vedic era, right? Again, saying nothing, right? But there is a possibility. There is a possibility. There is an observed pattern that there are certain planetary positions, right, which lead to certain events in history, right? And everything gravitational, apart from light, right? Gravitational wave, gravitation is a very strong force existing in the universe, right? It is because of this gravitation that our entire solar system is revolving in a set pattern. So there is a possibility that as we get to know more, we will understand this. Shaurya, let's not go into that, right? Let's not go into that. वो उसमें फिर वही बात है कि डिटेल्स देखोगे, ठीक है, कि नॉट अब्यूज एनिमल्स बट प्लेंटी ऑफ एनिमल्स यूज्ड फॉर टू सैक्रिफाइस एंड प्लीज गॉड्स, ऐसा नहीं है. प्लेंटी ऑफ एनिमल्स तो ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है, ठीक है. उसमें हर चीज का लॉजिक है. अब ये स्टडी करेंगे, अच्छे से पढ़ेंगे, तब पता लगेगा. तो वही बात है. अब वो ना करना कि मेरे रिलीजियस सेंटिमेंट्स ना हर्ट कर देना. क्यों भाई शौर्य, है ना? वैदिक एज में देखो, certain things, when human being or persons, we are not able to understand logic of something, right, then malpractices creep in, right? Then malpractices creep in. When we know the logic, right? And the problem here was this only, right? The knowledge was confined to certain elite upper castes, right? They were the they had the repository of knowledge, and because that knowledge was not percolated to all the sections of society, that is why it is less known, right, to other people. Exactly, Ayushi is telling right. I will tell you, right, this was in Aranyaka, right, this is mentioned in Aranyaka, right. Moving on, Ayushi has said a very important point. Moving to Aranyakas are actually forest books. Aranya basically means forest, right? So Aranyakas are the books written in forest, right? Mainly the hermits who were living in jungles, and it was made for their students, their pupils, right? They actually reflected deeper meanings and spiritual aspects associated with Vedic rituals. And it was in these Aranyakas that the sacrifice, the animal sacrifice that Shaurya is talking about is actually sacrifice यार कई चीजों का होता है. Sacrifice इसमें बताया गया, Aranyakas में कुछ ऐसा बताया गया कि ये symbolic और philosophical meaning होता है, right? फिलोसॉफिकल मीनिंग होता है. जस्ट एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ कि सिर्फ एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ. अगेन यार इतना डर लगता है ना, माहौल बाहर इतना ऐसे हुआ हुआ है ना. एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ, बुल का सैक्रिफाइस है ना. डू यू पीपल नो दैट बुल इज ऑल्सो कंसिडर्ड एज अ सिंबल ऑफ स्टबर्ननेस? डू यू पीपल नो दिस? बुल is also considered to be a symbol of stubbornness, right? A person who is stubborn means he would be having certain ego as well, right? He would be having certain arrogance as well, that no, I am going to do this in my way, only my way or the highway, right? So in Aranyakas, things like this, they are mentioned that sacrificial of bull is actually you sacrifice your ego in order to have a connect with God, right? So as Ayushi said, that animal sacrifice was actually some other aspect, right? The sacrifice was some other aspect of human behavior, right? So वही बात है यार, अब यूपीएससी एग्जाम हमने करना है, नहीं तो ये कुछ और डिबेट बन जाएगी. पता लगा मैं उठाया गया यहाँ से, ठीक है. I completely vanish. Nobody knows where Chandan Sharma went. ठीक है, तो इसको बड़े ध्यान से करना है हमने, और बहुत ज्यादा उस डायरेक्शन में नहीं जाना. ठीक है, अब समझ लग गया शौर्य? थोड़ा सा एग्जाम्पल बस, ठीक है, थोड़ी सी एग्जाम्पल, राइट. चलो, राइट. सो अरण्यकास का लगे हाथ आपको अरण्यकास का significance भी पता लग गया, that what Aranyakas do, right? They are books written in forest by wise hermits for their students, and what they do, these wise hermits, they said that actually the sacrificial norms in Vedas, they have a deeper meaning, right? The rituals, they have a deeper meaning. These rituals are symbolic and they can be interpreted in a philosophical way, right? That is what they are telling, right? Next comes Upanishads. Upanishads ka literal translation is to sit near someone, right? To sit near someone means Upanishad, right? So there are 108 Upanishad, and the main theme of these Upanishads are Atma and Brahman, right? And they focus a lot about life, universe, self, body, sacrifice, and various other things. They emphasize this thing that Atma, right? Knowledge of your own self, or that is knowledge of your Atma, hum khud, Atma. Okay? Atma Shakti means self power or will power. Atma Ghat means self injury or self sacrifice or suicide, basically, right? So Atma means self, right? So knowledge of the self or Atma should be acquired, and relation of Atma with Brahman should be properly understood, right? So Upanishads, they basically say that you know yourself, right? By knowing yourself, you will be able to know the whole world, and through that you will be able to connect yourself with the world. इसकी भी एक छोटी सी philosophical example बताता हूँ, और सुबह भी बता के हटा था in one of my classes, right? There, see, during UPSC preparation, it happens that even the best of the minds, even they are unable to clear this exam sometimes. But it doesn't mean that this is the end of life. It just means that you are meant for some other thing in which you can do wonders, right? Many of the aspirants, many of my seniors, I know that they are today doing wonderful in their respective fields. Some of them, they are writing books. Some of them have joined politics, right? And even became ministers in Punjab. Education Minister of Punjab used to be a student, right, of UPSC exam, right? So it's just that you need to know yourself, that who are you? What are your capabilities, right? And through that, you are able to, when you know yourself, you know your purpose, right? And when you are in sync, your actions are in sync with your purpose, through that, you will do great, right? So in Lion King, I often refer to this thing, that in Lion King, there is a quote by Mufasa to his son Simba, that मैं हमेशा तुम्हारे साथ हूँ और हमेशा तुम्हारे साथ रहूंगा, बस ये याद रखना कि तुम कौन हो, right? Which means that I'm always there with you and I'll always be there with you. But remember that who you are. So when you know yourself, right? When I got to know after my most recent attempt being in 2022, after writing the mains of 2022, it suddenly hit me that maybe this is not what I'm made for. This is not what I'm made for. I am a creative person. I like creativity. That creativity might be in the form of reels, might be in the form of these animations, in the PPTs, in the content. I like writing blogs and various other things, right? So maybe something else is there for me. And love for knowledge, anyone who is having love for knowledge will also have certain love to transfer that knowledge, right? And trust me, guys, when I accepted this, when I made peace with this thing that, okay, repeatedly मतलब कुछ ही मार्क्स से रह जाना, राइट? कभी 30 नंबर से रह जाना, कभी 40 नंबर से, मतलब 30-40 नंबर क्या होता है कि हर क्वेश्चन में, ठीक है, देयर आर 20 क्वेश्चंस, आधा नंबर भी हर क्वेश्चन में आ जाए, तो इन वन एग्जाम यू कैन गेन 10 मार्क्स, राइट? इन 4 जीएस यू कैन गेन 40 मार्क्स. क्लियर है भाई, इंटरव्यू कॉल उसके बाद इंटरव्यू में कर सकते हैं, राइट? तो व्हेन आई एक्सेप्टेड कि ओके ठीक है, गॉड और व्हाटएवर द सुप्रीम पावर इज देयर, I am now going to follow what is in resonance with my personality. Trust me, things are far better than last year, right? क्या बोलें इसको? जब दिवाली आती थी ना, just telling you, when Diwali used to come, right? Everyone was celebrating. I was feeling anxious. I always used to feel anxious. On my birthday, I always used to feel anxious. When the new year comes, I always used to feel anxious. साल का 2021 बन गया, आई एम देयर, माय फ्रेंड्स, राइट? कोई असिस्टेंट मैनेजर से स्टार्ट हुआ, मैनेजर बन गया, किसी की शादी हो रही है, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. वेयर एम आई? द रीजन बीइंग दैट आई वाज नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग हु आई वाज. द डे आई एक्सेप्टेड, डन, लाइफ आगे बढ़ना स्टार्ट हो गई, ठीक है? तो दैट इज व्हाट इज देयर इन उपनिषद. कैसा लगा भाई उपनिषद का ये प्रवचन, राइट? हाउ वाज इट? आई होप that whatever we discussed today is not just helping you in the preparation for UPSC, but also helps you achieve wonders in life. And trust me, one more thing, it doesn't mean that क्योंकि मैं ये बात बोल रहा हूँ तो आप अपनी तैयारी छोड़ दो. I'm not saying that at all. You will not know. One more thing, don't commit this mistake. You will not, how to know that are you meant for this exam or not? Try it, right? If you are made for it, you will clear it, right? And trust me, see, one thing that I always felt during my preparation, I got campus placement in Schneider, right? But I never joined it, right? And that turned out to be a big regret for me, right? Why I did not join it? Because I felt that private sector में तो मैं क्या ही कर पाऊंगा? I am not meant for. I just had this notion, perception that I won't be able to survive in private sector, right? And gradually, with time, I realized that the pain of failing is nothing in comparison to the pain of the regret that you get for not even trying. समझ आई ये बात? आज थोड़ा सा मोटिवेशन सेशन भी कर लेते हैं. Remember this thing, the pain of not, the regret that comes, that hits you back na after some time of not even trying, it will hit you severely, right? And it will be much more than the pain that you might have felt had you tried and failed. करके तो देखता, right? So ट्राई जरूर करना है, अदरवाइज रिग्रेट रहेगा कि अगर मैंने किया होता तो क्या होता, वही होता जो मंजूर खुदा होता, right? So do try it out. Now let us talk about some famous Upanishads, right? Let us talk about some famous Upanishads. The first famous Upanishad is Mundaka Upanishad, right? There is one more Upanishad called Mandukya Upanishad that is different, right? Mundaka Upanishad is the most famous Upanishad, right? It is considered to be one of the primary Upanishads, and the quotation, that the quote, our national motto, Satyameva Jayate, is taken from here, right? Satyameva Jayate, meaning the truth alone triumphs. But trust me, truth alone triumphs ये आधी बात है, truth को मेहनत बहुत करनी पड़ती है. The world will always be ready to accept the fakeness, right? The false notions, right? Truth does win, but ये कोई नहीं बताता हमें that truth has to work really hard to prove itself, right? But yes, if there is truthness or truthfulness in your actions, certain additional power gets added to it. So again, linking it with whatever I discussed earlier, if you are truthful to yourself, if you are truthful to who you are, to what you are doing, right? You are following your routine or not, you are practicing MCQs or not. So if you are truthful in your actions, it will actually push you towards your final aim of seeing your name in the final merit list. Moving ahead, Chandogya Upanishad is another famous Upanishad, right? So in this Upanishad, the first three ashrams, what are the ashrams? Ashrams. This is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, Grihasth, Vanprasth, and Sannyas ashram, right? These are the three ashrams: Brahmacharya, Grihasth, Vanprasth, and Sannyas ashram. What basically happens is that it is said that in Brahmacharya, you should basically focus on acquiring knowledge and to prepare yourself to face the challenges of Grihasth ashram, wherein you get married, you have family, you have to basically take care of your next generation as well as your previous generation, right? This is the most productive age of all, right? So in Grihasth ashram, you need to be ready for that. You have to toil and work really hard in Brahmacharya ashram, right? Even so much so that even the sons of kings in later times, even they will be following Brahmacharya in a very strict fashion so as to get ready to take the responsibilities during Grihastha ashram. After Grihastha ashram comes Vanprastha ashram. It is that stage where your body is still quite able, and what you should do, you should gradually come to the back footing, right? You should give your experience to the next generation who is now ready to take up on the responsibilities, right? So gradually you should come on the back footing, and towards sannyas ashram, at this particular stage, you should basically take exit from the direct activities of dunyadari, right? And focus on your connection with God, right? This is your last time, right? 75 plus के बाद ये time आ जाता है. So try to reflect upon your deeds, right? पश्चाताप कीजिए अगर हो सके तो, right? And after that, let's meet God then, right? So first three ashram, that is Brahmacharya, Grihasth, and Vanprasth, right? And certain types of marriages, they were mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad, right? What are the types of marriages mentioned here? There are two prominent types. One is Anulom Vivah. Anulom Vivah means that a man is marrying either in his own varna, right? Now, varna is different from ashram. Varna is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, right? So, if a marries in his own varna, right, or below his varna, so that is called Anulom Vivah, and it is preferable, right? It is a common form of marriage accepted, right? Most preferable was marrying in their own varna, right? And even a man marries in the lower varna, even that is preferable. However, there is another condition wherein a woman marries in a varna lower than her own. It is said that this was not sanctioned by Vedas, and it was said that the progeny here, it was believed that the progeny here would not be too great, right? So, I'm not saying anything. This was there in Chandogya Upanishad, right? So, what is Anulom Vivah? What is Pratilom Vivah? You just need to know the meaning of it, right? Further details can be known in certain chakra. Okay. So, Kathopanishad, right? Moving on to Kathopanishad, right? This is a story of immortality, right? This is a story of immortality, और इसमें एक कथा बताई गई है. Katha means story. So a story has been narrated in it, wherein the central theme is immortality, right? It tells us about this encounter of Nachiket, right? Nachiket was the son of a very famous sage, right? Way back, the name of the sage was Vajasarvasa, right? This was an ancient hermit, ancient sage, right? He had a son named Nachiket. Nachiket had an interaction with Yam, the god of death, right? And in this interaction, certain things and certain events happened. The narration of that, all that story is given in Kathopanishad, and the central theme being immortality, right? Sometimes, basically, through this katha, it is said that you should consider yourself lucky that you are immortal, right? So the perks of being immortal, right? It is also reflected here, right? Because mortals know that they cannot die, so they may not sometimes have any kind of fear, right? But immortals, not only we have a threat of losing our lives, but when there is a threat of losing something, anything, right? वो मोह के साथ कुछ ना कुछ एक emotion भी जुड़ा होता है, right? That fear of missing out has certain form of emotion. So it is only us, the immortals, who are able to feel that emotion, right? And it is only us who are able to discover our potential that we might have been unaware about during those times when we have certain fear of missing out something, right? घर पे समस्या है, right? Financial या कोई और, right? We are facing some kind of trouble, right? Our relatives are not so helpful, boasting off about their wealth and constantly criticizing, right? A child there, right? Maybe Priya, Ayush, Niranjan, Prem, Bhavna, maybe anyone. They take a resolve. ओ अच्छा यार, हाँ सॉरी कंफ्यूजन हो गई, मॉर्टैलिटी की बात कर रहा हूँ, हम इमॉर्टल नहीं है, मॉर्टल हैं, ठीक है, आई एम सॉरी, थैंक यू शौर्य फॉर करेक्टिंग मी, पे बड़ा गड़बड़ हो जानी थी ये प्रवचन, राइट? वी आर मॉर्टल्स, राइट? इमॉर्टैलिटी की इसमें बात की गई है, तो इसमें यहाँ पर ये भी ऐसे बताया गया कि कई बार लकी है कि हम मॉर्टल हैं, ठीक है? तो कहानी कुछ ऐसी है दैट व्हेन वी नो दैट we may lose something, right? And we mortals, they have to struggle. The immortal की example इंद्र है ना, इंद्रदेव स्वर्ग में बैठे हैं, अप्सराओं के नृत्य देखते हैं, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, हमें तो नहीं देखने को मिलता, हम क्या देखते हैं, रील्स, ठीक है, जस्ट किडिंग, कमिंग बैक, राइट? मॉर्टल्स जो हैं उनको कोई ना कोई दुख या कष्ट रहता है, राइट? दे हैव सर्टन, हाँ आयुषी क्या नाम है, वेम्पायर डायरीज, okay, yes, even actually in true sense even they were not immortals, वो लकड़ी का उनमें डाल दो तो even they would die, right? But anyways, coming here, right, when the point is that when we face hardships, it is at that time that the best within us is exposed out, right? Two things will happen, and that depends upon our attitude, our behavior, actually our attitude, our mindset, right? There are two things, right? You can see two types of people. Usually whenever you see a movie or anything, you will always see that a criminal usually has a scar, right, on his face, which basically indicates about a troubled childhood, a painful childhood, a tragic past, right? And at the same time, the protagonist, even he will be having certain form of some pain in his past, right? But the difference is in the mindset, right? It is in hardships that if you focus on your true self, if you focus on your goodness, right, you will ensure that whatever happened to me should not happen to anyone else, right? Whatever guidance I lacked during my preparation, I will ensure that the generation which is preparing for exam, they should be motivated, they should get proper guidance, and they should have someone that they can count on, right? Something like this, right? So in that process, we basically bring out the best out of us, right? So being mortal is not all that bad. Sometimes even if we are mortal, still we can be greater than immortals through our deeds, right? Anyways, the next Upanishad is Prasna. Okay, Prasna, not praise, right? Prasna means question. Prashna Upanishad, right? This is in question answer format, that is why its name, right? Here a Brahmin comes to a saint called as Pipilad. Okay, Pipilad saint, he comes and he requests him to clarify his spiritual doubt. So the conversation is contained in Prashna, right? Prashna, Brahman and Pipilad, right? Kathopanishad, Nachitket and Yam, the god of death. Chandogya Upanishad, about 3 ashrams, right? And types of marriages. And Mundaka Upanishad, right? About Satyamev Jayate, right? Remember this, MCQ will be asked from this particular aspect, right? So apart from these, there are some other Vedic literature as well. For example, Vedang means limbs of Ved, right? These are supplementary texts that are going to aid you in proper recitation and understanding of Vedas, right? They're written in the form of sutras, right? Sutra again means something like shloks, right? Short condensed statements which are used to express certain ideas, right? Sutra means short condensed statements used to express certain ideas, right? Puran, literal meaning, it means old, right? And Puran are basically Ramayana, Mahabharata. These form the aspects of Puran, right? Puran, basically they give a very well-defined perception of the past, right? And they shed light on the emergence of various religious practices of Hinduism that we see today, right? Mainly 5 topics ranging in 5 span of time, 5 ages that is depicted here. 5 topics के बारे में पुराणों में बात की गई है. These topics are Sarg, Pratisarg, Manvantras, Vamsha and Vamshanucharita. Okay, what does Sarg mean? Sarg means creation of the world. Pratisarg means the world gets destroyed and it gets recreated, right? Manvantra means periods of various Manus. Vamsha means the genealogy of various gods and rishis. right? Various gods and rishis, इनका origin, इनका वंश कहाँ से चल रहा है, right? And Vamshanucharita means the text which relates to royal dynasties, Chandravanshis, Suryavanshis, etc. Right? Now, यहाँ पे किसी को अगर प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, let us understand this through this particular point. There are 4 yugas which are mentioned here. ठीक है, there are 4 yugas which are mentioned in Purans, right? What are the 4 yugas? Can someone mention them, right, in the correct chronological order? Dwapar, Treta, Sat, Kal. Right, let me just confirm. First will be Krita, right? Then there will be Treta, then Dwapar, and the last one will be Kal Yuga. Okay. Krita is also known as Satyug. Krita is also known as Satyug. Then comes Treta, then comes Dwapar, then Kal Yuga. Yeah, Satyug, Krita. This should be the order. This should be the order. All right. So 4 yugs, they make 1 Mahayug. 1000 Mahayug, they make 1 Kalp, right? So these 4, they will make 1 Mahayug, right? 1000 Mahayugs, they will make 1 Kalp, right? And each yug is periodically destroyed and again it gets recreated, right? And after Kalp, there are certain one more stage wherein it is said that every Mahayug will start again and will have different Manu. Manu is basically the first human being. Manu, as per Vedic text, it is considered to be the first human being. So basically what I feel is they are telling about existence of parallel universe too. Right? But again, do not write this in your exam. This is not going to be asked in your exam. Right? Period of various Manus, Manvantras. ठीक है? तो हमारा यूनिवर्स जो है उसका एक कोई स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट है फर्स्ट ह्यूमन बीइंग जिसने आगे की पूरा अपना वंश ये सब बढ़ाया. ठीक है, दे आर सेइंग दैट दूसरा टाइम पीरियड भी होगा जिसमें अलग मनु होगा, राइट? सो दिस बेसिकली मींस इंडिकेशन ऑफ पैरेलल यूनिवर्स, राइट? सो ईच युग इज पीरियडिकली डिस्ट्रॉयड एंड गेट्स रिक्रिएटेड अगेन व्हेन dharma declines and there is revival of dharma. ठीक है, that is what Lord Krishna has said in Mahabharata and Gita as well. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata, right? And that completes shloka. Right, again ब्रीफ में समझेंगे, बहुत ज्यादा अंदर घुस गए तो कोई और ही क्लास बन जाएगी ये, राइट? देन कम्स धर्मशास्त्र. धर्मशास्त्र, दे डील स्पेसिफिकली विद धर्मा. धर्मा मीन्स द कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट, the way you should perform your duties, right? The code of conduct, right, through which you can follow the moral law of the society, right? And this moral law should be in consonance or in resonance with the universal law, right? Universal law is called as रीत, right? Universal law कि ये तो रीत चलती आ रही है. रीत जो है वो आपसे पहले भी थी, आपके बाद भी होगी, and जो धर्म है वो आपको फॉलो करना है, right? So universal law and your own individual moral law, they should be in sync, mentioned in Dharma Shastra. Dharma also refers to fulfillment of Purusharth. Purusharth is basically life goals. This Purusharth can be divided into 4 parts. Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha. Dharma means the righteous conduct. Arth means material well-being. Kam means the sensual pleasure. And Moksha means liberation from this life and death cycle. Basically, you understand it this way, that whatever you want to use, try to understand your own life, right? कोई भी चीज हासिल करनी है, you want certain, right? मान लो many of you are aspiring for IAS exam for certain sensual pleasures. This sensual pleasure may be in the form of that feeling that you will get while traveling in the red beacon light, maybe, right? Or traveling in a white Innova Crista with certain bodyguards, right? Certain SHOs or certain SIs providing you security cover, and you are traveling through a street of your relatives. Maybe the feeling, the sensual pleasure that you will get during that, right? That is what? Calm, right? To achieve this, you first need to have certain resources in order to get that, right? And to get these resources, you need to perform certain righteous conduct, right? This is just the way to know the sequence in which the life offers you, or the Purusharth can be attained by a particular individual, right? Dharma, Arth, Kam, and then after this, you realize that ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है यार, ये तो कुछ है ही नहीं. You get above all these things, right? You just realize that I am just performing my duty as a district collector. right? So this is what is moksha, right? Above all, you get free from the cycle of happiness and sorrows, life and death and everything, right? So these are the purusharth, right? Let us try to solve some questions. क्या आंसर है इसका बताओ? The term Aryan denotes everyone. Bhanu, Ayushi, Shaurya, Priya, Bhavna, Niranjan, everyone. What is the answer? Okay, Aruna says B, Saloni says B. यार ये बताया तो था. हाँ, संबित का सही है. Sambit is saying, telling the correct answer. Speech group, यार, speech group, right? The term Aryan, Aryans were semi-nomadic pastoral people, but actually it denotes a speech group of Indo-Aryan languages. संस्कृत बोलने वाले लोग आर्यन, ठीक है? स्पीच ग्रुप, सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. संस्कृत बोलने वाला ग्रुप, राइट? ये संस्कृत बोलने वाला ग्रुप नोमैडिक पीपल का भी था, ठीक है, बट इट वाज आइडेंटिटी ऑफ आर्यन, ठीक है? सी देयर कैन बी मल्टीपल नोमैड्स, ठीक है, बट आर्यंस देयर सोर्स ऑफ आइडेंटिटी वाज नॉट बिकॉज दे वर नोमैड और सेमी नोमैड, इट वाज बिकॉज ऑफ देयर स्पीच, देयर लैंग्वेज. ऑलराइट, भावना क्लियर है? ठीक है, जैसे लेट्स से हम बना लेते हैं कि ए बी सी 3 ग्रुप्स हैं, ठीक है, ये तीनों ही नोमैड्स हैं, लेकिन हम बी को बी आइडेंटिफाई कैसे कर पा रहे हैं? उनकी बोली की वजह से, राइट? सो स्पीच ग्रुप. Which of the following four Vedas contain an account of magical charms and spells? बताओ. ऋग, यजुर, अर्थ, साम. ऋग्वेद हो नहीं सकता, ठीक है, सामवेद भी नहीं. यस, वेरी गुड. सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. अथर्ववेद. वेरी गुड, एक्सीलेंट एवरीवन. सलोनी, भावना, प्रिया, रिबा, सात्विक, संदीप, एवरीवन ग्रेट. नवीन, आयुषी, सबका सही है, सबका सही है, ठीक है. सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. द फेमस डायलॉग बिटवीन नचिकेत एंड यम इज मेंशन्ड इन 1997 का क्वेश्चन है. नचिकेत और यम, नचिकेत और यम के बीच में कथोपनिषद, ठीक है, कथा के बारे में था ना, इमॉर्टैलिटी की थीम थी, ठीक है. इट इज कथोपनिषद, राइट? सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर, राइट? सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. वेरी गुड भानु, अरुणा, सात्विक, एवरीवन एक्सीलेंट. The dharma and reet depict a central idea of ancient Vedic civilization of India. In this context, consider the following statements, right? First statement is saying dharma was conception of obligations and of the discharge of one's duty to oneself and others. Reet was fundamental moral law governing functioning of universe and all that it contained. बताओ कौन सी? Very good, excellent everyone. प्रिया, भानु, सुलोचना, आयुषी, रिबा, मधु, नितिश, संदीप, सात्विक, प्राउड ऑफ यू गाइस. मुझे डर लग रहा था कि वैदिक लिटरेचर कहीं बहुत हेवी टॉपिक ना हो जाए. That I was really fearful of this fact that Vedic literature should not be so heavy, but you are answering each and every question correctly, and all these are previous year UPSC questions, right? So by this exercise, we also now know, Bhavna, maybe nahi, it's absolutely C. Maybe C. It's C. Okay? So this actually shows that you are able to get what important things you have to extract out of this topic. Plus, by looking at these questions, you can also understand that questions are mostly revolving around either the themes of certain Vedic text or the meaning of certain terms. And that is all that we have to do. We do not have to go into too much of philosophy, right? Although I went into philosophy, but that was only to encourage you guys, motivate you guys. ताकि इस class के बाद, for today, just give 2 hours extra to your studies, right? Okay, ये याद है किसी को? सर्ग, प्रतिसर्ग, मनवंत्रस. Which of the pairs above they are correctly matched? Sarg, Pratisarga and Manvantras. Sarg, recreation. Pratisarga deals with creation of world. Manvantras, period of various manus. The answer is C. Sarg and Pratisarga, actually, they are interchanged, right? Sarg is creation. Pratisarga is recreation, right? Answer is option C. Can someone arrange this in correct chronological order? Chronological order? Yes. शौर्या, भानु, अरुणा, भावना, सब एकदम दे आर ऑन फायर टुडे. सबके आंसर सही आते जा रहे हैं, ठीक है. तो आंसर इज सी, राइट? अब चेक भी कर लेते हैं. कृता, यस, त्रेता, द्वापर एंड कली. सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर, राइट? ओहो, ये चलो कोई बात नहीं, इसमें हाँ ठीक है, आंसर नहीं है. नेशनल मोटो सत्यमेव जयते हैज बीन टेकन फ्रॉम, राइट? यहां पर ना दिस क्वेश्चन आई हैव पुट फॉरवर्ड so as to make you realize that there are 2 Upanishads of very similarly sounding names. One is Mundaka Upanishad and one is Mundukya Upanishad, right? So Satyamev Jayate is in Mundaka Upanishad, right? Mundaka Upanishad, it basically tells about that you have to understand your own self in order to realize the path of self-realization, right? Mandukya Upanishad, right? This is a shorter Upanishad. Here the focus is on the study of Om, the syllable which represents the ultimate reality, right? And it delves into the nature of consciousness and different something, right? Om के बारे में है ये, बस ये याद रखना. Satyameva Jayate in Mundaka and Om is in Mandukya Upanishad, right? Because these are two very similarly sounding terms. That is why I have discussed this question so that the confusion is not there in next phase of your preparation, right? So आज अभी इतना ही करते हैं, ठीक है? Let us continue the remaining part in tomorrow's session. Done? कैसा लगा आज का सेशन? थोड़ी हिंदी ज्यादा यूज कर ली यार आज. भाई बहुत हो गया इंग्लिश, अब मैं नहीं बोल रहा इंग्लिश. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी. भाई मुझे सपने अंग्रेजी में आ रहे हैं यार, बताओ. आई एम गेटिंग ड्रीम्स इन इंग्लिश. दैट इज नॉट डन. दैट इज नॉट डन. आई वांट टू स्लीप इन पीस एंड हिंदी शुड बी देयर. हिंदी इज माय मदर टंग, राइट? So it should be, I should be conversing in Hindi in my dreams as well, right? And I sincerely hope. Thank you so much, Bhavna. That's so sweet of you. कि सर लास्ट में हिंदी बोल लिया करो. बिल्कुल जी, ठीक है, ठीक है. तो उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आज का सेशन आपको अच्छा लगा. शौर्य, आर यू फ्रॉम पंजाब? भाई पंजाबी में ना अलाउड नहीं है यार, कभी कभी निकल जाती है. Sometimes in bilingual I can utter few words in Punjabi, but here we have certain limitations, right? But anyways, I hope this session was quite beneficial to you. You learned certain great things, right? And in upcoming session we will study various other aspects and have an overview about different ages of ancient India, right? Vedic age almost done, right? Next we have Mahajanpadas, then Mauryan age, right? Then we will see something about certain aspects about Guptas and then Harshas, and that will be all, right? Medieval India, we will do it completely in advanced sections, and this is how we are going to proceed, right? So that's all. Let me make a correction. याद है किसी को कौन सा क्वेश्चन गलत हो गया था? एक क्वेश्चन था ना, एंशिएंट इंडिया का ही था, इंडस वैली वाला. हाँ, उसको ठीक करके I will get this PDF uploaded to your portals right away, right? And everyone who is practicing questions, really good. Keep it up, Prem. Doing great. Just अपना momentum बनाए रखना, ठीक है? Keep up the momentum. That's all. Wish you all the best, friends. Thank you so much. That would be all for the day.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.